So, to quote the electrician of the runway and airplane, I picked a bad time to quit drinking. So, just kidding. I'm not drinking it live on air. But, if anything can be said, and I'm going to get this out of the way so I don't forget, because I'm going to have Mike read a synopsis, but I will say this is partially a celebration because something that has bugged me in this series for 26 episodes, 2 movies, and then the rebuilds, it took 18 years. 18. And them no longer being a part of Gainax, they learned how to pronounce the word Longinus.
Finally.
Mike, read the synopsis.
Okay, so this is Evangelion 3.0 or 3.3. You cannot redo. Shinji awakes on ruined Earth 14 years after a third impact and finds that people have turned against him. He becomes trapped in a cycle of death and rebirth and continues the battle to battle the angels while the world spirals towards complete destruction. I want to read a certain part of that again. He becomes trapped in a cycle of death and rebirth. What, does he watch the death and rebirth thing?
He watched the first version, the one we didn't get to see. Because don't worry, we didn't get to watch Death and Rebirth. We got to watch Death True Squared.
Oh,
can I call out another part of that summary also? Continuing to fight angels. One angel at the very end, not even a fight. That's baloney. Well,
yeah.
They might as well just call this, we're going to sit around while we do not explain anything for the first half of the movie and then info dump you in the second half and then hope you stick around for another 10 years before we get to the next movie.
Yeah, this movie is, I told them in the chat, for better for worse, this is very Anno. And not even the fun Anno, where, you know, he just gives you all the visuals. But to be fair, the opening is pretty great. This is the Anno that likes to wallow in misery. And Shinji does a lot of that in this movie.
It's a story that kind of halts because they introduce the dreaded time jump. 14 years have passed. Basically, humanity is almost all but dead. There are basically no humans left except for the ones at Nerve. And what is it called? Willis? Or
Willie.
Willie.
Not Willie. Willie.
Free Willie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to get that one in first. But so Shinji wakes up from this time jump.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. They have him in space. They don't show why.
Well,
and because subtlety, they had to have him in a large cross-shaped box.
Because subtlety.
And I have to correct myself from the last movie. Now that, for people who don't know, we recorded almost all of Evangelion in a giant chunk, and then my life went in a shit spiral of not wanting to edit things because I had self-esteem issues. Still kind of do at the current moment. But anyway, I went through and editing a shitload of them, and then I realized that through editing them that I made a mistake, and then continued to quote that mistake in 2.0. He does have crosses in the original series, or I should say halos. They show up for a little bit. They're not as pronounced as they are in the second movie. But again, they have this giant cross container, and they do not explain why his deep sync test had to happen in the middle of space where he could have just got hit by an asteroid.
Be thankful.
Yeah, I was confused by that too.
be thankful there were like no other space like bounding angels or anything like that, like from the original show and such. Just
yeah, he okay. So okay, the entire movie. I'll openly say I think out of the three of us, I probably like this movie the most. I'm going to throw that out there. I still do think it's the weakest of the three, but I am a person that likes to have pretty shit put in front of me, and I still don't think this is Anno at his worst. Anno at his worst, I still think, is the original version of what we saw. But so, like Cameron was saying, they get Shinji wakes up, and I can't. These Anno, you have a problem. I love you, but you have a problem. We purposely get a time jump to make it so that these fucking children can be of legal age. And you make it so that if you pilot an Ava, you stay in the body of a 14-year-old.
The curse of the Ava, which they do not talk about, or I don't remember any of this mentioned.
No.
Not in the original, not in that Death of Evangelion, not in the first or second movie. They just bring it up. They do not explain it. They just kind of hope you kind of get it.
All it is
exactly
that they don't have to draw adult versions of Shinji, Rei, Mari, and Asuka. That is
literally
it is.
Okay.
That
so
is literally the only reason why they have.
And then they do.
Eva.
Then they do stuff like Asuka has an eye patch. They don't explain that. They don't explain exactly what happened between Nerve and Wele or whatever. I don't like this movie enough to correct myself on that mistake. And so something obviously happened between the third impact and now. And we don't even know it's a third impact. I guess you can presume it is, but since the last time we saw Shinji was he got shot down with a spear by a Kaoru, coming down from the moon like a rocket man. And then everyone just hates Shinji automatically for some reason.
Now, to be fair, this is the one time where they are mad at Shinji. And in their own backward ass way of thinking, they do have a reason to be upset with him.
Oh, sure.
Because he did. Well, no, I get it. It's still because the whole thing with Rei was him disobeying an order to save Rei. So he awoken the angel by disobeying an order. I get that.
Yeah.
But even then, there should have been hey, we're going to sit you down and explain. You done fucked. This is why this happened. You can't pilot an Ava again because we don't want you to, because when you didn't obey an order, you fucked the world over. I'm going to sit you down for 10 minutes, explain what happened, and then we can move on with our day. Except
instead they explain none of that, treat him like a prisoner, and then just say
you should know better. And it's just like
you should know better. What should I know? You didn't tell me anything.
And also, what else were they doing when he was asleep? He wakes up for the first time in the middle of his sync test. What else were they doing for 14 years to that poor fucking child? Yeah. I'm sorry. Adult trapped in a 14-year-old's body.
Well, So, from the second movie, they did that big old anime preview. It's like, here's what's going to happen in the next movie. Don't follow that. It's been 5 years since the last movie at this point. None of that is ever going to show up, or if it does, it's going to be reshot and reconfigured to make more sense. And you do see some shots there, but the what's his name, Kyoji, the guy with the ponytail, and
Kaji.
Kaji.
Yeah.
You don't see him. They show him in the preview, but he's never in this movie. He's not even mentioned. And they give you kind of a tease that maybe like the bully character Toji is not around anymore, but they show his sister, who I guess aged, but apparently she also was almost a candidate also.
Almost, but to be fair, she didn't get in an Ava, so she has the privilege of puberty. If you want to call that a privilege.
I just don't know why this movie couldn't take some time to explain what was going on instead of waiting until halfway through the movie. I guess they were trying to make it like set up like, let's put you in Shinji's shoes. He's constantly confused. He's upset. Something has happened here. But I'm not like, oh, what happened? I'm like, tell me what happened or I'm going to stop watching this movie.
This movie, and again, I still do like this because it's getting towards the point. The one, and I will say the thing that drags it down for me, and Mike can attest to this, because when we reviewed the Arrowverse, this one trope, this is probably my most hated trope in literally anything, and the Arrowverse did it repeatedly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know where you're going with this.
Do it.
This movie doesn't happen if the characters have a conversation that two characters should have, but they're not having it because the audience is watching those two characters. And we don't want the audience to know that detail. So then, therefore, we're making these two characters not have a conversation that would normally be had.
Okay, then I agree with all of that, but just so we're on the same page, because there's a couple different pairs that could have conversations but don't. One, there's Misato and Shinji. There's Asuka.
Biggest one.
Yeah.
There's Asuka and Shinji, who
They meet up once throughout the entire movie until the very end, and then just never interact again. So it just would have been better to just tell us what happened in the first place. You can't do a time jump and then
not explain anything.
Something must have happened with this film's production, because I feel like the one that's on Amazon and all that jazz, it's not the original version. They have a different version that was then like redone, that like they upgraded the visuals at some points and retold some things so it aligns better with the last movie that's coming out. So, it's out, but you know.
Okay, so find out some things. Shinji has the fucking Suicide Squad collar on.
Yep.
Because they think he's just going to pilot another Ava, and he's going to pilot another Ava. How? Why? Because he can't, because you have Unit 1 powering the ship you're on.
Oh yeah, the most Studio Trigger thing ever.
I just love it. Basically, everyone from Gainax that worked on Gurren just made Trigger, and then they went, we're going to, but it's just, okay, we need to get some things off here, because my God, I was like fucking Shia LaBeouf in the second Transformers movie, kitten calendar, like writing the freaking glyphs and shit. I'm like, hold on. So Unit 1 is in the ship's engine. He has that collar preventing another awakening, which we find out later has the most complicated way to kill a human being ever.
Instead of killing them.
Yeah. And
again, go ahead.
I love Japanese people, and I love their way of phrasing things at certain points to make it sound more interesting. If you try to pilot an Ava again, we will stop you at the cost of your life. Do you mean you will kill me?
I need that clip from Infinity War where the guy's like, yes, that's what killing you means.
That's what killing you means. Did you
No.
did the logic center of your brain shut off while you were asleep, Shinji?
Okay, so I'll say a few interesting details. So, third movie now. The 14-year time skip has produced. Nerve has now made mass-produced Ava units. Those big saucer things that you see at the beginning.
I don't even know if they're Avas. They were called Cores, and they were called Nemesis series UCs.
They're called on the wiki. They're called Ava units. So
glad they said that.
No, so they're basically mass producing these things now, and well, when we see with the details of what happened with the third impact, they aren't the only ones. And those things that tried to take down the big flying trigger ship, those were apparently Ava units also, which okay, whatever. And Mari, which best character,
Still
who is not in the movie a whole lot, and it's basically
I wish she was in it more.
Yeah,
she's the best character. She's the best pilot they currently have.
She has her own Ava unit now, and because she's a girl, it's pink. Not for whatever.
But wait, before we get too far away from it, everyone, what is the ultra creative, out of the box? No way they could have came up with anything better name for Unit 2 now.
That movie was so dense, I forgot it.
Unit 2 Improved.
Ha!
Oh wow, that is such a great name.
I thought they were just like, this is Unit 2 Improved. And then they call it Unit 2 Improved, I think 7 different times. So I'm like, it's just, it has a face covering and a different arm.
Yeah, it has like a replaceable arm apparently, which I don't know.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, it is awesome. And Asuka has an eye patch. They don't. I'm assuming that's from pilot, like getting caught within Unit 3 in the last movie, but they don't.
Yeah.
But they don't explain that either. So
No.
might as well just give her eye back, you monster. Gendo has a new pair of shades.
He does. And what I love, okay, so they were able to make this giant trigger ship.
Yeah.
They were able to make all this stuff, these flying things that, but by the way, Avas can't be airborne. Remember that one. Ava units will never fly, but but this is just the definition of plot convenience. So all this stuff, we could throw Shinji into this orbital box. We can send them into space with these makeshift rockets that we've done. We've made this entire fleet that can lift in the air at a moment's notice. Collar's out of range. Just Bluetooth ran out. Can't do it.
How convenient that in order for Shinji to like be in the plot, they had to give us that little inconvenience.
It's not even an inconvenience. This movie has no stakes, or the stakes that are implemented are terrible because humanity is basically dead. The instrumentality project happened, and I guess all the remaining humans got turned into Ava units because we find out later on something happened to humanity, and there's a bunch of like Ava bodies everywhere.
From what I understood, he attempted the instrumentality project and then it like got stopped because he needs to have the impact happening while the instrumentality project's going. Am I wrong? That's kind of what I got from that.
It sounds like that's what they wanted, but then the impact was averted. So
well, the Guff chamber closed because that's what happened when they tried, again, spoiler, the fourth impact at the end of the movie. And Asuka, do you mean it's going to be another third impact? No, it's going to be the fourth impact, you idiot. You don't have another third impact. That's how numbers work. But
no, well, and then it's like Rey, like there's this ongoing mystery, and I just do not care if this is the original Rey that Shinji saved or not. Because this is also the movie that we are introduced to the whole plot twist. I was kind of hoping Anno wouldn't go back to this plot element because they never quite explained it or did it very well in the original show. but they bring back the clones.
well, from what, and again, the clones to me were always just if something happens to Rey, he has another copy of her. From what we understand in this movie, and it doesn't get told to the end of the movie, Rey is still in the original one, is still in Unit 1. Because they do say that.
Yeah.
Right.
I will give them that. And then so is, again, before we get that far, again, life, death, and taxes. A couple of things are always going to happen. Shinji at some point is going to get treated like trash by everybody for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Anno has to have underage children piloting these pilots, whether they're underage or just the bodies of underage children.
Ugh.
And also, Rey cannot get a good room.
No.
I asked him in the chat earlier. I'm like, I can't decide if this is better or worse for Rey.
Shinji was at the nerve facility for 5 seconds, and he got a better room than Rey.
I mean, it's a prison room, but still.
It's a shower curtain she's staying in. What is this? It's a shower curtain in a sleeping bag next to a black hole.
I don't get that. It's like the worst parts of Anno got out again, because it's like with the first two movies, yes, they were rushing through the beginning of the original show story. And then they started doing stuff better. Asuka was better. Rey was better. Mira, or whatever her name was better.
Mari.
Yeah. The action was good. The animation was better. The story was just way more interesting and more like emotionally investing. And then they kind of throw all that away. And I also just find it funny that they get another like Unit 0. It gets its head blown off, and yet later on it's just like, oh yeah, Unit 0 minus the head is our backup, and we're just going to give her this cool scythe that doesn't look like any.
They call them vessels of David as well. Like, there is a lot of weirdness, and also life, deaths, and taxes. The other thing that can never happen in these movies, because like Otto's just against it. That class rep can never get called by her fucking name. She gets called Toji, mentions the other kid, and then class rep. They just can't call her by her name.
No.
School doesn't exist. She's still called the class rep. And
wait, what was her name?
I don't know.
Hold on.
But
I got it.
Yeah, we see him, like, you see him doing the playing of the piano with
Kaoru, who is working with Nerve for some reason.
A lot of stuff changes.
Like, that's a big deal now. That's like, I guess, because Anno saw the kid, so did he just assume that he wasn't an angel or what? Like
the thing that I'm seeing here is that in this ending stage, Zelle and Gendo are working together again because they have to fight off Welle, and they're trying to both get the impact to happen for different reasons. It's just that both of them are making it seem like he's participating with Zelle, and at the end we find out differently, but okay.
And Zelle, so they implied that they're not human anymore. So are they? Okay, so then what are they? Are they angels? Are they Lilith or Lilin or whatever they're called?
To be fair, I don't know, because in End of Evangelion, when everyone turns to Fanta, they turn in, their shells go away and they're fucking Ghost in the Shell, just in chairs.
Yeah, big old robot guy at the beginning and whatnot. But by the way, the class rep's name is Hikari. So.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
But still, it doesn't help that they never say her name.
Over, and yet she's still just class rep.
And Kaoru takes them through everything. You finally get the details about halfway through. He explains everything, and it shows that they're in space, by the way. Yeah. They're just in low orbit. And he explains everything about how Lilins want to try and change the environment around them, but they don't want to change themselves. So what it's getting at is, from what I could see, Zelle, and this matches with what they wanted originally. Zelle wants humankind to basically hit the reset button and become what their next form is. And what it's sounding like is that Lilins, meaning humans don't want to change themselves. They want the world to change. So they don't want to evolve, but they want the world to keep moving on. Pretty much how we have it. And it seems like Zelle wants the exact opposite. But again, they're working together. So, and big thing that changes. And this one, it's weird. So everyone remembers that in the original movie that Gendo's original last name was Kakabunga Hugo Waka Holo or whatever. And then he took Yui Ikari's name. In this movie, her last name is Ayanami.
Yep.
That why couldn't that just have been
Default.
the default?
Like, this movie is just maybe it's just me. I found this movie extremely hard to follow because it just seems like no one talks like a normal human being. And I know this is anime. Anime is known for stilted dialogue and long diatribes and whatever.
Ano's anime, so it's even more off kilter.
But it's like the last movie was so good at making them all feel lively and human, and it just seems like it just regressed backwards. Evangelion 3 feels like a filler movie. It's like we needed to get this done so we can get 3.0 plus 1.0 done.
Part of me honestly wonders if originally this was just a trilogy.
That might have been the case, and then
but then they don't. But then they run into the same problem that the original show did. They explain jack all for a ton of the elements there, and I don't know.
They do straighten some stuff out though, which I will admit they do change some stuff from the show that I honestly think works better. The name with Ayanami, one thing that's good that they showed is they didn't show the background where, hey, this is Rei Ayanami. And then everyone goes, your coworker's kid? Same last name as, your ex-wife originally? They don't go through all that. And still, like, Shinji just had to not ever be told that Ayanami was his mom's last name. But they show that Yui didn't get flash banged out of his existence and then just go into Unit 1. It showed that they were trying direct infusion. She went in and she had to be wearing an angel suit because subtlety. She's actually in there.
Right.
Her code is in the thing. So I'm like, okay, that cleared up a little bit. She tried a direct infusion like a science experiment and it went wrong.
Right.
That makes some sense. And then they play more piano, and then again we go back to space age technology. Not only does you ran out of cellular range. Didn't they put this collar on me? Not anymore.
Oh, so
Kaoru could have Shinji could have taken that thing off at any time. There was no stopping it. No, if an angel tries to touch it, it burns the angel and kills Shinji or something instantly.
So in the end,
again, no stakes.
The only point to the collar was so Shinji could pass it on to Kaoru.
I don't even know if that was initially the case.
I don't even think that was the plan. I think that the plan was that they put the collar around him just in case he tries to pull something. And then he's just like, Shinji, I know we kind of insulted you for being a boy who follows orders, but can you follow orders so we don't blow you up or whatever?
Yeah. And they get ready for all of this. And it's just going to be just like playing piano. Can we do whatever? And blah, blah, blah. And again, they avoid I felt more chemistry between these two than ever because they had some more screen time, and they didn't immediately within 2 minutes of them meeting have him blushing at being 2 inches away from Kaori's dick. That was a much better bit of storytelling.
Oh yeah, the Shinji Kaoru parts are the best parts of the movie.
Absolutely,
their bond, their dynamic, and the whole piano scene is great. It's at least better than Shinji and Asuka doing DDR.
Yeah, I
Simon
like how they
says.
had to get some kind of simultaneous, and they had to have a twin injection plug suit. So I'm just kind of like, okay. Immediately I was like, which one of you is betraying each other? The second they were like, we need to both be in there, but this isn't Pacific Rim. How are you gonna?
What weird timing, by the way.
I
that
know
this
they
came out.
They came out like. So this came out in 2012. Pacific Rim came out in 2013. So not enough time for one to have copied the other.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that Del Toro loves robots, and the show Evangelion has been around long enough that he could have designed the Jaeger to be.
And you can't tell me that there wasn't part of him that when he was developing I can't remember the exact system that the Jaegers do to the
mind meld thing.
The mind meld thing. You can't tell me a part of that wasn't like, you need to properly fuse and have sync tests and all that, and your property rates and like, that's all in there. That's all in there.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, they go down, and again, yeah, you've got Gundam. Oh, I can't remember which one it was. It's the coolest freaking Gundam they've ever made.
Yeah, Gundam Death Scythe.
Death Scythe, where like you see your death flash before your eyes, where it it's great.
But yeah, they go down in this new Unit 13, which just looks like Ava Unit 1. So
with 2 seats, and it looks. I know we said that before they were stringier when they fight, and then they looked barrel chested. This one looked more like the old Avas. Like it looked like a string bean, wiry type of thing.
Yeah. I'm still not going to get over how Unit 0 just had no head for the most part. It still got a scythe. And it, what's the term where it's like, oh, that scythe is like, looks wildly different than from everything else. Like it's not a consistent art direction kind of thing. Anachronistic or something like that.
Anachronistic, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And they never explain where they got it from either. She just has a death scythe.
Hey, at least it's not the box cutter knife.
True.
That is true. But they couldn't even get her one of those regular blades like they have, because they even upgrade the prog knives to be actual knives. She doesn't have one. Yeah. But, and like, you see, they go down, and then immediately they look, and something happened while they were there, because they said they changed Kaoru's original angel to be self-autonomous, because that's the angel he stabs Shinji with. And then this thing, it looks like it stabs the thing through itself into Lilith. And
again,
it looks
off screen.
It looks like Lilith got up off the cross.
Yeah, it looks, yeah. So basically what happens, like they go through this, and then also there's that barrier with all the bodies and corpses of Ava units. That like surrounding like like the most metal wallpaper you can think of. I wonder if Gendo's bedroom is aligned with that. Anyway, Lilith at one point was about to get up, and you see like the body like hunched over, and Kaoru's Ava unit pierced into it, and there are 2 spears,
which are supposed to be a set. But guys, tell me if I missed something. Please tell me if I missed something. No. In the original understanding of this, they were told to Zelle. Now, and this is my mind how I think this worked. Zelle didn't know what the hell was down there. They just know that there was 2 spears in it, and they were a set. When they get down there, it's 2 identical same spears.
Yeah, Kaoru was saying like we need the spear of Longinus and the spear of
Cassis.
Cassis, and then he started bugging out a little because he's like, no, this isn't what was supposed to happen. We weren't supposed to get this.
It's like they're both the Lance of Longinus.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, no, that's what it looks like. This movie is not very good at keeping you like constantly like paying attention. Because the lingo starts coming in, and it's just like, okay, just enjoy the ride, enjoy the visuals.
That's honestly how I was processing all of this, because Anno does not do a good job of explaining anything. So which
was weird because the last 2 films had a really cohesive story. I mean, some things were a little ridiculous, like Mari coming down with a parachute onto the school, like that BS.
Well,
but
the thing is, and I was partially expecting to have exposition overload, and it's part of why I think this next movie is going to be really good
And really long.
and really long. God, oof. Is that this was the first one where Ano was not reworking over the cracks in the drywall from the old house.
Yeah.
He was building the addition on top of the garage now.
Right.
So you get some new things, and I knew that he was going to start setting stuff up. And I get what the point of this movie is. It's that Gendo is so set in his ways that he needs to redo this, and they need to fix things. And Shinji is so set to fix things that all these movies are very bluntly titled. I'm starting to notice.
Yeah.
Advance, Alone, Redo. All of them that's the exact plot. They're trying to redo the Impact again to get the thing to happen of what they wanted to.
Right.
But it didn't happen, and then now this next one is Thrice Upon a Time, so they don't even have a whatever. It's one of the most pretentious... Oh, no, I love you, but that is one of the most pretentiously titled movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Couldn't you have just called it Evangelion 4.0 instead of saying 3.0 plus 1.0?
According to the next time, see you next time in Evangelion theoretical. No, wait, hold on. Theatrical edition. Yeah. They called it the theatrical edition. What am I watching?
Are we watching a direct-to-video movie or something? Because this looks way better than most direct-to-video movies.
Yeah.
So anyway, Asuka and Mari come down to try to take Shinji and Kaoru from taking the spears out. Once again, the animation is great. The big fight sequences that we've seen all look great. I think the first one is kind of the best and the worst one because it's so dark. It was so hard to understand what exactly I was looking at points.
Yeah.
And I have a 4K TV. This was not a problem. This shouldn't have been a problem.
And the pump and butt rock that was in the background, that is someone else got into Ano, hey, Ano, I know we're still going to have that really classical music at the end there because you can't resist yourself.
Yeah.
What if we got some things that would be rock music and a normal mech anime and then put it in there?
Right.
Or we just don't tell him.
It was very, very Gurren.
It was. It was more sophisticated. I will give them that.
Yeah.
There would have been some rap lyrics or some other things going on if it was Gurren, but it very much had the pumping music to actually let you know a fight was happening. And while that fight's happening, Gendo shuts down Zelle, one by one, and they even changed, and I looked it up to be sure, they changed Zelle's logo.
Yeah.
Because before it was the mask with the 7 whatevers.
Yeah.
And now, because again, subtlety, boom! They had to have the apple and the snake.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because they're from the Tree of Life.
Yeah. I mean, you see that thing all the time in the original show, so.
Yeah. And you get it. Again, like Cameron said, the fights are just nuts. And you have one Ava sniping away from over there, and then it's they have extra battery packs now that they just return to them.
They have portable battery packs. Finally, what took them so long? And yet they still can only last 5 minutes. And we get to see another form of Ava Unit 2's Berserk mode.
Code 777.
And it's really cool. It's just nice to see Asuka do some damage because she basically got benched in the last half of the second movie. Yeah. And then Ray's headless Ava grows another head. Don't know why it had to take.
Don't forget, Unit 13 grows another set of arms. And
that part was kind of cool.
That was cool, but I love how overly complicated they make it. So they've got 2 spears on both sides of the Ava unit. Instead of going 2 arms here, 2 arms here, they have to crisscross each set of arms in the most complicated way to make it so it'd be so awkward lifting those spears out.
So Asuka loses Unit 2 again because it was about to get... Yeah. Rey escapes finally because she's just like, wait, like she has this arc of just like, because she does only what she is told, which, yikes. Only follows orders. I cannot do that because I was not commanded to. And then it's just like this weird last minute revelation of just like, I can do whatever I want. I should be able to do what I want.
Which is an arc that was never really a problem in the series.
It's like they add plot because they realized, what is the driving goal? What are the stakes of this movie? Again, humanity is basically dead. There are only like 20 people left.
That's what I think part of what the third impact is like somehow they can be brought back, because that's what the whole
that's what Shinji wants to do.
Thing is that if they want to come back, they can come back. If I remember, that was part of what the thing was.
Yeah, no, in the original movie, they said humans are now just like whatever. They're bodiless souls or spirits, and if they want to come back, they can. Granted, I would wait until civilization is reborn and the ecosystem is just not 12 levels of screwed over. But here it's like Shinji wants to cause the fourth impact, I guess, to refix everything that went wrong with the third impact. Kaoru kind of has a last minute change, like, no, I don't want this to happen. And then, shock and awe, he's the first angel. Or I guess he's the first angel. He kind of labels himself as the first angel. And he's like, the first angel is now becoming the 13th angel. It just loops around again. And
because I guess he became that when he pulled the spears. I was like, that's a cool... I do like the detail that they made him the first angel, because we're based off of Lilith in their continuity, stuff like that. So making him the first one was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah.
No, by the way, where did all those giant skulls come from? Were those Ava units? They were just the skulls as big as small houses.
I don't know, because in the original one... Again, I remember this because I edited like 14 episodes within a week. They did have a double-decker cross filled with giant Ava-sized skulls just in the basement of Nerve.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I remember that too.
So...
And then big old statue thing rising out of the ground after they take the spears out. And the giant Rey thing starts to happen as it goes all Akira with its shape-shifting baloney. Again, this movie's hard to follow. I had no idea what exactly was going on because there's too much was happening.
Yeah, no, I understand you on that. There's a lot here.
And I feel like I get Anno's work. I feel like I get shows like Sunny Boy and such. I understand what's going on. Here,
nope.
No. So basically, I guess Lilith was coming back to life. Well, one of the things that happened was Kaoru's original Ava unit had an angel within its core. Kind of looks like they did a whole reboot version of the virus angel from like the one that took over the computers almost in the original show. Doesn't really do much.
They said something about they changed that Ava to operate autonomously. They said the Lilins did.
So who are the Lilins? I'm so exhausted
that's always been us. That's always been humans, our Lilins. So I'm assuming that I bet I can't think of terms in my head. Nerve did that, I guess.
So it sounds like a Nerve thing to do, but they don't explain it.
Those lances had to come from somewhere because, as I pointed out in the second movie, Kaoru didn't stab Shinji with a lance. He stabbed him with a giant spear. that was just a spear. The same type of spear that Asuka shoved in the core of the engine of Wonder.
Yeah. So did Kaoru die? There was so much going on. I couldn't quite understand if he died.
He did something. I'm pretty sure he died. I think he exploded, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what
well.
it seemed like
From what I remember, what happens? Unit 13 turns into an angel. It eats the core of the last angel, which super anticlimactic and whatnot. Since half the series was built around these giant angel encounters, zooms up just to get the heck out of Dodge, and then I guess Shinji ejects from there, saying like Kaoru is just like, no, Shinji, you're too important to end in this extremely anticlimactic and terrible way. Eject.
Well, he doesn't eject Shinji though. He stabs the spears in himself to save the impact from happening.
Oh yeah,
because
right.
Mari's the one that ejects Shinji.
Oh yes. Sorry, like I said. I'm not shocked that this is considered the worst of the rebuild films.
Me neither.
I didn't know exactly like if this was considered the worst, because I was just like, oh boy, we're gonna get so much hate for not liking this movie, aren't we? And then I see reviews, all like critical professional reviews, saying like, oh yeah, no. Well, but anyway, so the fourth impact gets delayed. They find themselves in some wasteland. I'm sure Mad Max is somewhere around there in his car.
Just somewhere.
Yeah. Asuka finds Shinji, gets him out of there, berates him as usual. Shinji has no brain power left. He has no brain cells left to just respond to any of it. Rey shows up just out of nowhere, just like, okay, where do we go next?
Yeah. By the time this is over and the credits roll, I'm like, wait, that's it? You're ending on this? What?
I guess they're going to go find Wonder, because there's
to go somewhere where the Lilin can pick them up.
Yeah.
But again, Mari changes, and before we forget about it, Rey version 2 fused with the ship to try and get control of Unit 1, and almost did.
Yeah.
Because Wonder took a beating just from one host of David, or host of Adam, as they called it, and then they got stopped there before they just pile drove right into Shinji and then fired all weapons, and then just went no, and then the ship went down. And then Mari finds them, and he's just like, I get it, you're upset, it's whatever, just please, for the love of God, wake up, we're done. Again, Mari being one of the people that no matter what they have her do, always is just like, yeah, I'm in a group full of weirdos and I'm trying to be normal, just please wake up. And ejects him and then gets herself the hell out of there. Mm-hmm. Man, a large part of me thinks that Anno made these movies because he thought of Mari afterwards.
It's very possible that could be the case.
Mari should have been the main character. We're going through an anime right now called Platinum End, and it's by the 5th episode it introduces a way better character because someone in the writing team realized, God, our main character sucks. Let's just get someone better.
Platinum End is like Shinji, but far more selfish.
Oh, so much worse. At least Shinji wanted to undo his mistake. How was he supposed to know that the third impact was going to just wipe the humanity off the face of the earth?
When no one trusts him and the people that he used to like treated him like shit, it's kind of just like, which people are treating me less like shit?
I guess I'll go to Nerve.
Yeah.
I'll go back to my dad because at least he'll give me paste food things and at least shirts.
And
what exactly
shirt?
What exactly was he eating in the cell? It just looked like different colored pudding.
That looked like ketchup.
It's basically astronaut food from what it looked like. I mean, granted, the whole world is borked over, so I guess there's no pork cutlets and actual food, so they have to make this paste. So,
Yeah, that was something else.
and at least there's a guy who likes me, and I get to play the piano from time to time, and not have an explosive caller around me.
Like, as much as I will say, this to me again seems like Anno going, I know what I want to do, but I can't fit it in the one movie, so I am going to shove all the exposition into this one. And then he wanted to show that Gendo was stuck in his ways and that Shinji's just trying to make someone happy. So
Right.
I get that, and that was what the main driving force of this movie is, which it is a good lesson because if they're trying to show mental stakes of Shinji. Now, one thing that I'm respecting, and this could easily go away because I don't know how the fourth movie is going to end, is that it seems like they're not trying to make Shinji the key to the human instrumentality project. They just need an angel awakening to do it because it very much went, we need angels dead, we need angels dead, we need angels dead. Shinji, you're the most important thing in my life, even though I treated you like trash and threatened to throw you away 4 times in the main series. And then now you're the key to everything. It's kind of just seeming like they just want instrumentality to happen, and then if it did, he didn't give 2 shits about Shinji. So it's kind of just like Shinji's like an actual character and not a forced plot point at the end.
Yeah.
I like that, but that also makes Gendo so much worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna. This is gonna sound really shitty of me from a guy who had a horrible father. But I don't ever think I walked into these or sat down for these rebuild films hoping that they would make Gendo a better dad.
They try to with the very first movie, the end of Evangelion. He's just like, I am sorry for pushing myself away from you, Shinji. I'm sorry for distancing myself and my fatherly love from you. But I got a fetus in my hand, and I want to cause the world to blow up. So sorry.
But even if that was successful in redeeming Gendo, by that point it was just way too late.
And he's still alive. I don't know how anybody is alive after half of this stuff. And it was just kind of funny to see Kozo do. If that is that his name? Kozo, the Gendo's assistant, actually do something. And granted, it's playing a game just so we can get some exposition out of what happened to Rei, like Shinji's mom, and then the Rei clones and such that all come out of like beehive looking things. Ugh. But it was just funny. It's like, oh, you're actually doing something for the plot for once.
By the way, I looked at the Funimation cast for this. Man, Kent Williams would have sounded perfect for this character, for Kozo.
Who voiced him?
In the Funimation cast, it's Kent Williams, but for the Amazon version, he's played by Michael Ross.
Yeah, no, it's like they needed a different voice for him and such. I don't know what else to talk about. Like, this movie was a hot, wet mess.
And at the end of this, they talk about how the impact didn't happen, but they have the angel awakened, or I should say the Eva awakened, and they're still happy with how things are proceeding.
Okay, if you say so. If you are,
Gendo reminds me of those villains who are like, yes, everything went according to plan, but your home planet got destroyed, and all your men were.
Everything went according to plan. Don't look outside at the rubble. Everything went according to plan. But
yeah, go ahead.
And then you see you see the thing of stuff, things, plot, details, and Ava Unit 8+2 goes into the fray. I'm like,
oh yeah, they sliced an Ava Unit in half.
Well, they use what's left of Ava Unit 2.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's just like, so the dog half just reforms back into half of an Ava, and then they Frankenstein that sumbitch back together. And then
with Mari's Ava.
with
and
Mari's Ava, which to my knowledge was just okay, but it looks like it's kind of messed up. And
oh gosh, no, I'm looking at the Ava units right now, and it's just going to get nuttier when we get to this next movie, because it was already kind of interesting with the second movie, because it's like, okay, we got to stop this angel that we stripped for parts and is now a skeleton. Let's ramshackle an Ava unit together for Mari the pilot. We're going to see a lot more of that. We kind of saw more of that with this movie. And, well, didn't you say earlier that Ava units were never supposed to fly, and yet they gave Unit Zero wings?
Yeah, they say that point blank in it. Well, to be fair, that's organic. Part of me thinks that's part angel in there or something, because that was all organic. That was weird.
That looked cool. It looks cool though. I'm looking at a photo of it.
It looks awesome, but it's like they weren't meant to fly, yet they strap rocket packs onto the other ones.
Yeah,
that they're easy to maneuver and also snipe from in space. So I'm like, okay.
I still find it hilarious that Ava Unit 13 is just a recobbled together Unit 1, and it's just like, what can we do to differentiate itself from it? Then the artist was just like, just 2 more arms there.
Highlights, a lot more coloring to it, and it's just like, man, I also wonder why Anno fell out of love with the color blue. Because Ava Unit 0 just stayed yellow this time.
Yep.
The whole time.
Man, yeah, this movie.
And then we got...
Oh, and they also introduced like a bunch of new members for that Wele or whatever team, and they don't give them any personality. They
have names.
To be fair, did we really want them going, here's the wacky new team?
Well, there's no time to be a wacky new team. We got to be serious. We got to be super serial guys, because we got Shinji now. We got to treat him like dirt. Ugh. Really, the animation, the Shinji Kaoru parts, that was all I liked. Hated everything else.
I don't know if I go that far. I will say when they tried to have, when they tried to have a story, or I guess really it's just the fight. Just like the fight scenes themselves were great. It's just I just didn't really care about the story, because the stakes are like, oh well, we got to fix things because the end of the world.
When most of the world is just dead, anyway, it was hard to really care about everything in this movie.
That was the thing, though, is I believe that they were going to, if they did what they wanted, fix the fact that everything was fucked.
Okay.
Well, that's what because that's how there was their plan in the original one. If they got the instrumentality to work and Shinji passed the test, everyone could come back.
Yeah, no.
Plot line. So
yeah. It just seems, like I said, it just seems weird with this movie, because the whole world is dead. What else are they possibly going to do? Except maybe Gendo's just like, we need more red paste. Let's cause another impact.
Yeah, I can handily say out of the three of us that I liked it the most, because as far as what they were going for, I get it. It's just that, again, Anno, when he's needing to deal with more, at least from what I'm noticing from what I've watched of him, he deals with action and some character moments better than other things. And when he's left to have a playground with expository dialogue, that he gets a little out of hand. And as far as the whole plot of the movie goes, I like it. I just don't like the handling of it, which is a problem that Anno sometimes just has.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately my issue with it is basically the same problem I had with Rasu's arc in Gurren Lagann, where really his whole depression state kind of brought the energy down, and that's kind of what Anno did here, but because it's a movie, it takes up a lot more time.
Well, it's just weird because a lot, like, so much doesn't happen in this movie, and yet it's only 90 minutes.
A real quick one.
Yeah.
Considering.
I guess I'm just kind of wondering, why did they need 90 minutes or did they need more time? I don't know.
I am going to wait to see when I watch the next movie to see if they needed more time, because they have all the time in the world in that next movie, and we're going to see how they handled their time in that next movie.
Yeah, the next one's like the longest one, I think.
155 minutes.
Yeah, so it's almost 3 hours.
2 minutes shorter than Eternals, and like a minute shorter than Dune.
Okay. No, sorry. It's just like, yeah, I wouldn't consider this one of the best films from 2013. If I made my best to worst list and added franchise films, I would have put this really low on the bottom. Like, not the worst. I think really what it was trying to do, the characters, moments, and the action saves it from being like as bad as like Walking with Dinosaurs and such. But yeah, sorry, I didn't like this one. It just reminds me when we were going through the original show, we were like, yes, no.
That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah. But hey, we got one more movie.
Yeah, we got the big finale next.
The big finale, and then everything is done. And I just,
I'm ready. I'm excited, but
I've seen too, because I think they had another 6 years for this one. 7.
So let's see.
7 years.
2012. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 9 years.
9 years.
If this came out in 2012, I mean.
Didn't it come out in?
Was it 2012 or 2013?
I thought it said 2014.
This came out in
January 10th, 2014?
Nope. This one is November 17th, 2012.
Then what the hell is Evangelion 3.0?
I think
you might be thinking of the 3.33 version.
I'm looking at Evangelion 3.0.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, the original Japanese release was 2012.
Okay, so then that one came out in 2014.
Yeah, I guess. Let me see here. Licensed in America for home release. U.S. announcement revealed. I know we're probably going to cut all this shit out, but...
okay. Here, I found it.
Okay.
In December 2014, Funimation confirmed that they intend to release Evangelion 3.33 in the near future, and that Kara was creating the English language subtitle track for a Western release.
Okay, so it was shown off for the first time with English subtitles in July 2013 at AVCon. So,
okay, got it.
So yeah, now, what is with Evangelion and just wanting to be confusing as hell?
I don't know, man.
This is what it's like covering foreign animation a lot. You can see it 1 year, but it might not come out until like 2 years later. So,
just like I could go into a whole rant of why I hate Aniplex, but
yeah,
but so we're almost done. This over year-long journey, getting through this one more movie, which probably be about a week wait for us to do the next one, and then it'll be done. and then on to the next one.
which I'm very excited about.
Yes.
But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So that if that all turns out, I'm happy. Let's just put it that way. I'm really excited to see what this turns into. I don't know what it's gonna be. Part of me feels like I'm going to be in my chair and just brain eking out of the side of my head in a good or a bad way.
No,
I don't see there being a middle ground with that movie.
No, I think it's probably we're either going to like it or we're going to hate it. But who knows? Most people I've seen talk about it really love it. So
and
I don't think I've seen even a single negative review of it.
No,
Yeah.
And I've seen it also has stayed incredibly tight-lipped. It is not leaked all over, and there's 9,000 memes about how it went. This has been shockingly low radar all over.
And all it took for the internet fandom to not do something was the last Evangelion film.
Yeah.
I guess the Spider-Man leakers recently didn't get the memo.
Apparently not. But so second to last time in this Fresh Takes round here, Cameron, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/CamsEyeView or at CamsEyeView. I have my own website called camseyeview.biz where I review animated films and shows from around the world called The Other Side of Animation. I am the co-host of Renegade Pop Culture. I am the co-host of the Renegade Pop Culture animation podcast known as Renegade Animation. And I also have a Patreon at patreon.com/CamsEyeView. If you like my work, you can support me there.
All right, Mike.
You guys can find me on Twitter at CaptainK42. You can check out all my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me on various Facebook groups, just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. Find us on Podchaser. Listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
All right, and you can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero. And I'll say I was going to say a hint for what the next. I have basically etched what I want the next Fresh Takes to be, and I will give a hint to what it is next time. So, I'll catch you all later.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.